Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. A fair bit of news floating around the world of football today, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to bring back an all new news video. A lot of stories to dive into, a lot of stories to sink our teeth into, plenty of news topics to talk about and discuss. But before we go any further in doing that, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And also, I would encourage you as well to get involved in the comment section as well on any of the news stories that I talk about. I'm sure you will all have thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on any of the news stories that I talk about that you want to talk about down below in the comment section below. Sure, it'll make for a great and interesting reading. But for right now, let's get into the news. Okay, we're going to start things off with the intriguing story surrounding one Sadio Mane. Could he be returning to the Premier League? Of course, we know that Mane left Liverpool last summer. We know that he was looking in search of a new challenge. And Bayern Munich were the ones that paid the money. And he was off to the Bundesliga. Almost a year on, it hasn't exactly gone to plan. Obviously, Liverpool have fallen off a little bit, not solely down to him, but at the same time, it hasn't exactly panned out the way that he would have wanted his move to go. Obviously, more recently, of course, there was news of a punch-up and an argument between himself and Leroy Sané. And it seems that the relationship between him and the club has soured a little bit to the point where maybe Bayern Munich are beginning to consider selling him on this summer. Well, according to one Pedro Almeida, it could be a possibility. And then it's a question of where his footballing future will lie. Well, again, according to Almeida, it could be Chelsea Football Club. Yes, Sadio Mane could be on the return to the Premier League, playing for Chelsea this time. I'm interested to know what people's thoughts and feelings are about this one. A couple of days ago, I made a comment on Twitter. He said, first talks between Chelsea and Bayern for Sadio Mane have happened in the last weekend in Munich. The English club is currently the favourite to sign a Senegalese player, and follow that up within the past 24 hours or so, saying Chelsea negotiations between Chelsea and Bayern are progressing very positively. Sadio Mane is very excited about the possibility of returning to England. A first offer has already been made by the English club. Very intriguing story this. It'd be interesting to see if this actually happens. Of course, there's a lot that could happen with this transfer. Maybe Bayern actually want to keep him. Maybe Mane himself wants to leave. Maybe his plan or his move to Bayern Munich hasn't gone to plan for him and that's why he wants to move. Maybe Bayern just want to get rid of him. There's a lot of layers to this story that obviously may or may not be true depending on where you read it and obviously what will transpire from this fallout of the story. But the intriguing part is that if this is actually genuine, if there is some credit to it, obviously Chelsea will have got one hell of a player on their hands. Mane is still a fantastic talent. He's still a very dangerous attacking threat. Whether it's on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, or even through the middle, Chelsea will have one hell of a player on their hands. You could argue maybe they've got too many wingers, but there is also the possibility, like I say, of him playing through the centre and being a striker. That could also happen. And of course, with Mauricio Pochettino coming in, having that kind of experience in your side as well as a top attacking talent might help him be a stepping stone towards getting into that club and then looking to build from there, helping some of the younger players with his experience and with his knowledge of the game, and he could be a very big influence both on and off the pitch. But we'll wait and see what happens with this one. Obviously, like I say, nothing is set in stone as of yet, but reports are starting to snowball on the future of Sadio Mane, with Chelsea said to be interested. Keep your eyes on this story. Next up, we're going to talk about last night's Champions League action, and it was an incredible night for Inter Milan as they already seemingly have one foot in the final of this season's Champions League, with the final obviously being held in Istanbul. An incredible night of Champions League football. Inter Milan were absolutely dominant when ripping apart their fellow Serie A club, AC Milan. Of course, both teams share a stadium, so it's neither like a home or away fixture for either of them. But Inter, of course, take a 2-0 lead into the second leg thanks to goals from Edin Dzeko and Henrik Mkhitaryan. Incredible game. Incredible game first and foremost by Inter Milan. I thought they were the weakest side in this competition. They are blowing away the competition and have been throughout right now. And of course last night they were incredible yet again. AC Milan were very poor, and I guess the only downside for Inter on reflection of how the game went last night is that they didn't win by more goals. They very well could have done. Dzeko himself missed a couple of opportunities. Obviously there was a penalty that was overturned that proved to be a little bit controversial in my opinion. I don't think there was enough contact on Martinez to bring him down the way that he did. There was contact, but contact doesn't necessarily mean a foul should be given, and hence why it was overturned in my opinion. I don't think there was enough contact to bring Martinez down the way that he did. But yes, it was a very incredible night of football for Inter Milan, and now they just have to professionally see the second leg out. A couple of days ago, of course, we saw Manchester City and Real Madrid play out a 1-1 draw. It seems that if obviously there isn't some major upset in the second leg, Inter Milan will be facing one of those two teams in the final, of course. And we'll wait and see if Inter Milan can get the job done in the second leg. But so far, so good for the blue and black side of Milan. We're going to stick with the Inter Milan theme for right now, as Nicolo Barella is seemingly on the radar of a number of clubs going forward into this upcoming transfer window. Of course, Barella at Inter Milan is seemingly seeking a new challenge elsewhere, and the Premier League could definitely be a destination for him to be playing his football with for next season. The likes of Chelsea, Newcastle, Manchester United, and most strongly linked Liverpool, but surprise, surprise, Liverpool are after a midfielders. Barella is seemingly available. Is that coincidence? Is that genuine? Only remains to be seen. Are all linked with his signature for this summer. The Inter Milan midfielder has made 46 appearances this season, scoring 8 goals and assisting 9 times across all competitions so far this campaign. And like I say, he's seemingly going to be playing in a Champions League final, unless obviously AC Milan can come back from 2 goals down in what would be a spectacular Champions League night. But as things stand, he just needs to see out the next 90 minutes or so with his Inter Milan side to get through to that Champions League stage. He's a midfielder who is industrious, high work rate as well as creative. He's going to be an interesting midfielder for the future as well for the present. He's entering into his prime years. This guy could make any Premier League team even better in terms of his quality and what he brings to the table. But we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for one Nicolo Barella. Our next story brings us to Arsenal and their star boy Bukayo Saka. Rest assured, Arsenal fans, he doesn't seem to be going anywhere, as according to Fabrizio Romano, an announcement is imminent in regards to Saka signing a new deal at the club. Yes, it does seem that Saka is going to be extending his stay at the Emirates Stadium for another 5 years. This was obviously rumoured for months now that he was going to be signing a new deal. Well, Fabrizio Romano has took to Twitter to confirm that this is the case. Romano took to Twitter to say that Bukayo Saka will sign new contracts soon, as it's only a matter of time. It was agreed 2 months ago. It's sealed. There are no changes. New deal will be valid until June 2028. Arsenal announcement expected soon. So you can put all your fears aside, Arsenal fans. Bukayo Saka will be signing a new deal with Arsenal. It is pretty much signed, sealed, and pending to be delivered as soon as possible. It is almost done, dusted, and confirmed on that score. And it's brilliant and beautiful news for Arsenal fans, because let's face it, he is their star boy. He has been incredible all season for them. He has been incredible for the past couple of seasons. He's really started to add more goals and assists to his game in terms of his output, productivity, and his obviously goal contributions. They've all been on the increase these past couple of years, and he's really developed into an absolute star player that will only continue to get better, in my opinion. The closer that this Arsenal side grow together, the more experience he picks up. He is only going to get better, in my opinion and my estimation of this guy. A player that I've enjoyed watching these past few years from obviously afar, obviously not being an Arsenal fan, but still have enjoyed watching him. A credit to the kind of man that he is, a credit to the way he plays the game and how he plays the game, and is someone who is very intriguing and exciting for me to watch as a fan of the game. So obviously it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be staying there. He is currently enjoying life at Arsenal, it seems, enough to sign a 5-year deal. 5-year deal does always run the risk of maybe you end up regretting it sometime later down the line, because maybe the club fall off, maybe the club stop meeting your expectations, so on and so forth. But he does seem to be enjoying it at Arsenal. Arsenal, in my opinion, will either continue to be at the kind of level they are, may continue to improve. That's probably another topic of debate for another day. But at the same time, right now, brilliant news for Arsenal. 5-year deal, big money going to Bukayo Saka, and in my opinion, well deserved. For our next story, we come on to Leicester City's James Maddison. Just a quick one on this one. There's nothing set in stone yet, but it is being said that there is a revival in interest from one Newcastle United. According to the Telegraph, Newcastle are prepared to reignite their interest in James Maddison this summer. And let's face it, that was always going to happen. And I would imagine that Newcastle aren't the only ones that are going to be interested in taking James Maddison off of Leicester's hands, especially considering that obviously Leicester are in a relegation dogfight right now, a fight that they may not come out of. Maddison, phenomenal player, fantastic player, offers so much in terms of creativity, flair, intelligence, good set-piece taking. I think he'd be a worthy asset to a lot of Premier League clubs, and I think for the price tag that may obviously occur this summer, with obviously Leicester going, or likely to go down to the Championship for next season, I think a lot of teams will be interested in taking his services, and not just Newcastle. But Newcastle seem to have gone ahead in this kind of race to sign him, and obviously have shown their cards early. Whether that will happen or not remains to be seen, but James Maddison will definitely be one to look out for in the upcoming transfer window. For our next story, we come on to a very intriguing one about Dejan Kulusevski. Now, last season, of course, in January, he signed for Tottenham on loan from Juventus. And of course, there is a optional clause in that contract for Tottenham to sign him permanently and get first chance to sign him for £35 million. However, according to some reports today, Tottenham may be having second thoughts about triggering that release clause. According to Nicolo Shira, I'm really sorry that I probably butchered that surname. I'm really, really sorry about that. Apparently, Tottenham may be having second thoughts over whether to trigger that release clause. He talked to Twitter today to say, the future of Dejan Kulusevski is in doubt. Tottenham reflecting on the possibility to pay $35 million to Juventus to sign him on a permanent deal. Kulu hoped to stay at Tottenham, but the talks for his signing are stalled as of now. Juventus waiting for Spurs' final choice. Kulusevski has been incredible since obviously joining Spurs. He's had a bit of a hit and miss season this campaign because of injury and hasn't quite hit the heights that he set for himself when he first arrived, but he's still been a very good player, a very good creative outlet, and has kind of took on the role of being that Heung-min Son figure when obviously Heung-min Son's form has kind of dipped this season. He's been the one to kind of step up in his place, and obviously it's been a very difficult season for Spurs overall, but when you consider that he's been a bright light as well as obviously Harry Kane, an otherwise dark season for Spurs, he's been great to watch. This news, I can't imagine, is what Spurs fans want to hear. Do I think there's any truth behind it? Maybe not. I think that Spurs would be incredibly dumb and stupid to not pay this kind of money for Kulusevski going forward, especially when you're possibly going to be losing the likes of Harry Kane this summer. I just don't think there's truth behind it. I think Spurs will eventually pay the £35 million figure. It is in the kind of ballpark kind of area that Spurs would like to make their signings based around. I think they'd be stupid not to pay it. I think this one will be done. But it is going to be interesting to watch this one unfold and whether or not Spurs are actually going to be dumb enough to miss out on this opportunity. I think there might be a lot of teams that might have Kulusevski on their radar going forward. And finally, a story that caught my eye. This one could be extremely intriguing. Aston Villa are seemingly interested in Marco Asensio. Remember Asensio? A player that obviously plays for Real Madrid right now. He was destined for bigger and better things. Never quite hit the heights of the kind of estimation and the kind of potential that he may have had. He was talked about receiving multiple individual awards across his career, as well as obviously many trophies and many silverware, or much silverware should I say, across what would be a lengthy and hopefully illustrious career. Obviously at Real Madrid, he has obviously a bit of a resume going right now, but I wouldn't say he's quite hit the heights and expectations that were probably set before him at a young age when obviously he was first breaking onto the scene. And maybe some of that is down to injuries playing their part and maybe missing his time or whatever it may be. But he is still a very good player, shows a lot of skill, a lot of flair, a lot of speed, and could be a worthy asset to a lot of teams across Europe. One of those teams is seemingly Aston Villa. This one again comes from Nicolo Shira again, apologies that I kind of butchered the name, I believe. But yeah, this one comes from him. He took to Twitter to say that Aston Villa are really interested in signing Marco Asensio as a free agent if he doesn't extend his contract with Real Madrid. Aston Villa are ready to offer a 4-year contract with a rich salary. Open talks with his agent George Mendes. Like I say, for a free agent, you can't really go wrong, especially for a player of Asensio's quality, caliber, and of course with what he has done in the game so far at Real Madrid. This would be an incredible signing for Aston Villa if they can pull this one off. And obviously they've gone early because I would imagine, like I talked about with James Maddison earlier, I would imagine there is going to be a fair bit of interest in Asensio going forward. If obviously he doesn't extend his contract to his current contract with Real Madrid. So Aston Villa have tried to move early on this. Obviously Unai Emery knows a lot about La Liga and knows a lot about him from his time in Spain. So there is a bit of a connection there. There is a bit of history there, and obviously Unai Emery is going to know him a lot more than a lot of other people would as well, and I'm sure that he'll be a worthwhile asset. And like I say, I think this would be an incredible signing for Aston Villa, but of course I would imagine, don't count your chickens yet, because although this could be an incredible transfer, or although this could be brilliant for Aston Villa, I wouldn't expect them to be the only ones that are going to be interested in Asensio going forward. Watch this space on that one. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, and whatever else you want to call it of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of any of the news stories that I've talked about in this video? What did you make of the Sadio Mane story? What do you make of last night's Champions League action? What do you make of Nicolo Barella? Where will his footballing future take him next? What do you make of James Maddison, Bukayo Saka, him signing a new deal? What do you make of the stories of Dejan Kulusevski may not be signing permanently for Tottenham? And what do you make of Aston Villa's interest in Marco Asensio? I'm sure all your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, will make for interesting and great reading down below in the comments section. I'm sure they will. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up. Enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new. Want to see more content like this. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been an all news story video thing. And I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video.